All right, now to take us home in the lightning talks and bring us in to the interactive portion, I'd like to welcome Eric to the stage. And I want you to give Eric a really big round of applause because he has been doing workshops and talks since like 5 a.m. this morning, and he's not a morning guy, so he needs the energy. So let's bring it up a little bit for him.
I appreciate that. And I also feel like a total jerk for being a white man standing up here now. So thanks so much. It reminds me of a performance review where I kid you not, this was in writing where somebody told me I needed to grow a pair of balls in the thing where I responded, I'm happy to show you mine if you'd like me to. So, this can go both ways. So listen, you've heard about organizations, you've heard about teams, you've heard about culture. I'm talking about you. I'm talking a little bit about me, but I'm talking about you. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a story, and this is going to hopefully take even less than 7 minutes if I do it right, because I talk fast. So those of you who have known me for any amount of time know that I've got a wicked personal story, and I'm happy to tell you all my personal story at some time in greater detail, but it can kind of be divided in two parts of life. Before 2016, my life was a thoughtless pursuit of more. And by more, I mean, it wasn't enough for me to be the first person in my family to go to college. I needed to go to get a PhD. It wasn't enough to be an academic. I needed to go get corporate roles and go up the corporate ladder. And boy, as much as I love big titles and income, it was really screwing me up in a lot of ways. And I didn't know how much it was screwing me up until I had, just one of those moments in life that completely derail you. And if you haven't had a moment like that, you have that to look forward to at some point, because that's going to happen to each and every one of you. Sorry to tell you. But this would happen to me about 8 years ago. And it's been a constant shift away from this more to the things I was missing from more, which is better. And for me, better looks like the time that I didn't have from working 80 to 100 hours a week, because that was what was demanded of me. And boy, my relationship was failing at the time, and my friendships were failing at the time. And I didn't have a community like this community now. And you know what? I don't think I had any meaning in my life. So if this is at all resonating, I'm sorry, but it's also the human condition. So I've kind of tried to make this shift from a thoughtless pursuit of more to an intentional pursuit of better. Do you know what's really hard about that? Is that we live in a world of more. And I've experienced this firsthand. So I started leading teams. I co-founded a team at YouTube back in the early 2010s. And back then it was all dogs on skateboards. I promise. It was Charlie Bit My Finger, dogs on skateboards, Meme City. All of our rooms were named for memes. We hadn't destroyed the world yet. It was amazing. And in fact, Mark Zuckerberg still wanted the world to be an open, more connected place at the time. But at the end of the day, what I saw sitting in leadership meetings, and I can't blame people, because this is the diet of business we've been kind of fed on. But the same kind of spectrum of my life, from more to better, I started to see more focus on just ROI, efficiency, and productivity. And not to say that these aren't the lifeblood of business. This is, of course, what business means to a lot of people. But does it come at the cost of better in terms of the desired human outcomes that I want and that you individually want? And it's a big question, because at the end of the day, it's not like it's one or the other. It's just I saw the spotlight. We made a bunch of decisions, and I can go into this offline, but certainly not on a recorded video. But I had meetings where we talked about the worst outcomes that we were creating in the world, and the next sentence is how much can we drive the business forward in terms of productivity and efficiency? So it became a bit of a problem for me. And it's not just a bit of a problem for me. We're at a place now, right, where if you just look at the universe that we're in today, and I'm not saying social media is entirely responsible for this, but a third of teens report to being addicted so much that they constantly use it. That's reported, so we know it's much higher. We've got 20% of men and boys in this country saying they have no close friends. That's frightening. And then, here we are in an election year, and we've got 70% of this country saying that they think the opposing side is a clear and present threat to the values and the dangers of way of life. So again, we're not going to blame social media for all this, but it didn't help. I can tell you that much. It didn't help. So here we are, right at the dawn still of this AI explosion that it's, a year plus old, but it's still the early days of it. And what we see is this gold rush glint in people's eyes, foaming at the mouth to make as much money off of this as humanly possible. And this is happening at the corporate level. This is happening at the board level, at the CEO level and above. And down at the ranks where us humans live and us mortals live, we're asking these questions: is that thing I just saw real, or is it fake? Is that, is this weird mix of Spanglish and whatever ChatGPT just did the other day, is that true, or is that hallucinated? And then I can't tell you how many emails I get where I'm like, there's no way a human wrote that email. That is definitely written by a robot. And so here we are, just grappling with these questions now. And, the question is, what would it take to put a little bit of this spotlight on better human outcomes? And I'm the one schlub in this group that doesn't have a book, but this is what my book is going to be about. This is what I'm writing on right now. I've got an agent. So if you like this, write my agent and tell him to get on it. But we've got to double down on what makes us human. And there's 3 core things that I really believe make us human. The first is sense making. We make sense out of utter chaos from the day we're born, and we have to make sense in organizations for the stories that we tell around this. And I don't think there's enough communication going on where are people at right now? How are people making sense of this new universe? There's a lot of assumptions being made, but people aren't articulating how they're making sense and where they're at. And so we're gonna do a little exercise around that. Where are you right now? This whole choice making thing. So we make sense, we make choices. They're choices based on our subjective values. It's called discernment. We make principled behavior choices. I don't know why we're just waiting for the 7 magnificent companies in the world to tell us what we want out of AI, instead of saying, this is what outcome we want for our lives out of AI. So what do you want? What do you want out of this technology that is taking over the world in every shape and form? And then finally, if we've got sense making, we've got choice making, we've got change making, how are you going to adapt? And there's always stages that you have to go through to do this adaptation, from everything from I'm panicking and freaking out to I'll never go back to another way that the world was. So where are you right now? So where are you? What do you want? How you adapt? And I think these all ladder up to the ultimate question overall, which is just taking a think through, what better outcomes do you personally want from this technology that has the potential to do incredible good in the world, and at the same time, if left unintended, has incredible potential to do harm in this world? So what do you want out of this? Because I believe that answering this and us being vocal about these things is the only thing that's going to move the spotlight from more to better, better. So I don't have a book, but I've got other things. So please let me know what you think.